are each of you going to do, and we'll start with Mike, to actually advocate for the people who actually really make up this government when you're in Washington?
Well, the first step is actually listening to the people. How do you represent if you don't have an open line of communication? So my campaign from the start has been about accessibility, and accessibility leads to accountability. If you're accessible, you can show your employers, the people, actually what you're doing on a daily basis. And that way, when it does come up for re-election time, there's no question what's Mike been doing for the last 2 years. They're already going to know. So that's something that I intend to roll out and try to change the whole narrative on what representation's all about. But then it comes down to, you go to work. When you show up on day one, you're there. You've listened to the people, and you continue to listen to the people, and you go and you advocate for them. You push that agenda. It's not, again, you're not going up there with your own things. You're going up there with ideas, but also the will of the people who elected you to office. And that's what you have to do. That's what the job is. It's representing, you're not a benefactor for the people. You're representing the people. And if it ever comes to a point in time where your core principles start to differ from the people who elected you, you're number one, you probably won't win re-election because you've gone two different ways, and you shouldn't be there in the first place. I think a lot of people have backed away from voting. I hear this all the time. There's no difference between a Republican and a Democrat anymore. They don't listen to us anyway. What's the point?
I hear it all the time.
Hear it all the time.
Yes.
And I'm trying to change that by saying your voice does matter. Your vote does matter. It does matter who you elect. It does matter who you send. Because if you don't show up, then you're going to end up with Paul Ryan or Justin Amash, or you're going to end up with a Mitt Romney who doesn't really represent your core principles. So that's why this is so important. This is why voters have to get involved, and they got to do it now to change this trajectory that we're on.
That's my number, and I plan on keeping that number.
So the same one that I have.
Absolutely. Yes, it's going on my business cards. When I get those, I will be passing them out with my phone number on them, so that they can reach me.
Now, do you know any other candidates that are running for office that do the exact same thing that might be here today?
I do.
Okay.
There's two other guys.
Mike, congratulations, Mike. I think he stole that one from us.
But that, to me, that's very important that you be accessible to the people.
Yes.
And not just people who are actively involved. Anybody in the community should have my number so that they can get a hold of me. And I don't care if they're a Democrat or if they're a Republican. I'll talk to them and listen to what they have to say. And my job is to represent the people in my community. So the district I'm running for, I have lived there for 25 years, I think, probably. I've lived there a long time, so I know what's going on around the district. I do kind of keep an eye on the politicians in the district where I live.
Good.
And always have, and I have a good handle for what's going on around me there, for sure.
Okay, good. And then Bob, basically the same question, but for you, Michigan's 47th district, right? Michigan House of Representatives. You said something about, somebody said, well, you've been around a while. Well,
Yep.
Have you been around this area for a while, and have you been talking to your friends and neighbors? Do you know what your district needs in Lansing to be represented?
I believe I do 100%. I started in the sheriff's office in '73, so I've been part of this community for most of my life. I came from Wall Lake, so I migrated out here, graduated in Wall Lake Central. But I've talked to people. One of our favorite things to do is going out, and we have cards, political cards. I don't like really mailing things out because you miss the opportunity to talk to the public. Whether you spend a minute with them at the door, or even 5 minutes or 20 minutes sometimes, people want to voice their opinions. And what's important to me, there's no such thing as a perfect candidate. None of us are perfect. But if you vote for me, if you vote for these guys, you know what you're getting. We might differ on some issues, the core issues, Second Amendment, right to life, taxes. Fine. Now, if you think we should pay 45 cents per gallon on our gas, then don't vote for me, because I'm not going to vote for that. I'm not going to vote against the Second Amendment. Never, ever. I'm going to protect that and that's why one of the reasons I'm running, because I want to make sure those rights are protected. You can do a Google on my name, and you'll pull up thousands of articles you know, how I stand on issues. We got embarrassed in the 2000, my first year in office. We got a big embarrassment, and one of our deputies was doing something he shouldn't have been doing, and he went to prison for it. But I was right out in front of that. I didn't try to hide it. I told the people right away, this is what happened. I feel horrible about this, but this is what happened. And that I can guarantee that that's the type of politician I'll be in Lansing. I'll be honest with the people. If you disagree with me, then let's talk about it. Let's come to a common agreement on it. But I don't think any of us can sit here and say that all of our constituents are going to be 100% agreeable with this. But I love to engage and talk about issues and say, okay, what's your thoughts on this? What's your thoughts on this? Okay, I see your point. You know, so.
Well, you agree where you can, you disagree
There you go.
where you must,
Yes.
and you build on what you have, and that's how you get things done.
That's a good way to say it, yes.
After the Livingston County meeting, in which Mr. Bazat voted in the affirmative, I was there talking to him just like a regular guy. You've been accessible. I've been able to just talk to you. Mike, I've ran into him several different places. We've sat and talked. I've been able to get a hold of you whenever I needed to.
Yep.
Rick, we were on the phone, night before last talking and stuff? So these guys are all accessible. And by the way, I'll just get it out there. I do definitely endorse Bob Bazat, Michigan's 47th District. Mike Detmer, United States Congress, Michigan's 8th District. Rick Napier, Livingston County Commissioner, 8th District also, right?
Yep, correct.
Because I've actually gotten to talk to these people in real life and see how they really feel. Because, yeah, there's a camera in front of us, but I can't even hardly tell, because when we just sit and talk, like in parking lots or the Capitol lawn or in the thing, we have the same conversations. And that's why I do endorse these guys, because they are accessible and they're kind of just like regular people, which is what I want to be my public servant. You have a lot of experience. You've been the Livingston County Sheriff for a long time.
Yep.
You're currently the County Commissioner for Livingston County, right?
Yes.
So, what do you have to offer as far as maybe some of the inexperiences of your primary challenger?
Yes. I've one of the advantages, a huge advantage, the way I look at this. I'm 69 years old, 33-year law enforcement, 12 years as an elected sheriff. My name has been on the door. I've made some tough decisions, and I've owned it. Whatever decision I make, I own it, and that's my commitment to the public. Is if you call me, I promise you that I'll do everything in my power when I go to Lansing to make sure that your concerns are taken care of.
Yeah, and I don't know. I don't want to keep asking the same questions, but it just keeps going kind of organically here. I've never even met any of your opponents. Where are you were out there when it was freezing cold on the steps of the Capitol, Mike.
Yeah.
You're a Michigan guy. Where are your opponents? If you guys could kind of continue down the line, where are your opponents coming from, and where are they right now?
You'd have to ask them. I've been asking the same question.
Yeah.
Okay.
Even with Open Michigan, the Open Michigan rallies, I've made it very clear to all the organizers of those rallies that if any of my opponents wanted to come join and speak on behalf of the people and for the people, by all means bring them, because this goes so far beyond any political campaign. This is about us. This is about Michigan. Mm-hmm. They haven't shown up. A couple of them showed up to get a few photo ops at a couple of them initially, and then that's been it. So they're not speaking up, they're not there. You'd have to ask them that question.
That's interesting, because if they were to convince me, which I try to be open-minded, if they were to convince me that they're a better candidate than you, I can't find them to ask them, some of these questions. I've seen them come just very briefly, like at the very end of a county commissioners meeting, and kind of just walked in real quick.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I can't get a hold of any of these people.
Right.
So I think that's important to a lot of voters.
Yeah.
It is, and it goes back to actions speak louder than words.
Yes.
If you say that you're going to stand for the Constitution, uphold the Constitution, and represent the people, that takes place even before you're elected. That should be part of your life. And whether I was running for political office or not, I would still be at those rallies, every one, because it's that important. It's about losing everything that our founders fought for and that people have worked their whole lives for, generations have put together. We're at risk of losing all of that. So it goes far beyond any political campaign. So I would think it would be really, really important to all Michiganders, running for office or not, to show up to defend this state and our Constitution and our nation, for that matter. So where are they? Great question. I will risk it all.
I know.
I put it all on the line to stand up for what's right. Mm-hmm. And that's where it's bigger than any election. So the simple answer is just stand up for what you believe in. Yeah. Stand up for what's right, and let the cards and let the good Lord and the voters make that decision.
Your opponent, where are they? Are they accessible? Are they are they in touch like you are?
Yeah. So my opponents, to be honest with you, Micah, I wouldn't know who they were if they walked up right now. I've never seen them before. I've been to a lot of different rallies. I was very active in the Second Amendment issue, and I don't know who these people are and quite where they're coming from. I'm relatively kind of new in the race, but I was the first person to sign up, and the reason why I'm calling myself new in the race is because my commissioner passed away, and I went probably about a week and a half after he died, and I signed up to run for county commissioner, and then shortly thereafter the two other candidates came out and signed up, and I don't know who they are. I've been involved politically around the county for several years, and I've never seen them at any of the Republican Party meetings. I don't know who they are.
I'm involved too, and I've never seen them. But you know what I did see, guys? And go back and watch my videos, and you'll see it. I did see him, resident of Livingston County. He came down to Monroe County to have our bags. And you can see him there on video. And you can see Bob voting in Livingston County. And you can see Mike. Mike's not a politician. He's going to be a public servant. But you can see Mike on the grassroots level in videos. Like, we didn't just make this up today. We're not just going to do photo ops at the last day. Like, I recognize these guys' faces just from seeing you guys around town, right? Like, involved. So.